Hello, everybody. Am I coming in? Am I coming in clear? This is our daily fix, your daily fix, February 23rd or 24th. Maybe you're on a Sunday. We're on a Friday. Today, Pope is in the background waiting for us. We are going to catch up on, sorry, money flow cycle first. Gives us a heads up on how money is moving within the market so we can make more educated decisions. Market cap, Bitcoin, dominance, and ETH. Here we go. I'm at Pope's house right now. Can you tell? We're going to catch up on Cosmos, Atom, Kasuma, Phantom, Casper, the ones we've been watching because we just learned a lot as they've gone. And then for Quan, we're going to look at Render, which I was looking at last night, and looks a little cool to look at. I don't know what it means, but I'm excited to find out what Pope says. So
it's looking like almost an all-time high, as I heard last. I haven't looked at it in a long time. I love Render. Done well with Render. We've had a lot of sea of reds. The first time I've seen green on the hourly and crypto bubbles in a while. There's been some pain in the streets, which I said I thought was coming. I don't think we've seen too much. It's not too bad, but it is the Friday. It is the weekend. I think more is coming. And yes, I even did enter the market a little while ago on a trade. A little bit down, but I'm still in a good area. And that's what I mean when I say we're never going to time the bottoms and the tops perfectly. And I'm going to show what I look for when we're looking for entries near the end. But let's dig right into it. As we always say, the total market cap is down. It is holding that 1.882 where we said we want to hold the gray line, which is now the green line, or color dotted is at the 1.883 right above it. Green, obviously, because we probably pulled back a bit. Maybe, I don't know why. Or because of the two colors. Oh, critical greed. That's why, because we're having that healthy retracement. We want to stay on this consolidation rectangle, bounce off it, work our way up, retest it, and off into the twos. Looking like we want curl, and then we want spread. We know if the other situation happens, if this starts to turn down more, we know price action and the total market cap is coming down together. We don't want to see that. We want a little thinning. It'll be okay to thin and then take off again versus a complete entry of a micro bear, which will pull us down. Don't think it can happen. I've been talking a little bit of a pullback pre-halving. I still think this is normal, healthy for as much as we've had. Waiting cautiously optimistic on the sidelines is probably what I would say. We'll leave the drawings as they were. We usually start fresh next week anyways, but this is what we're hoping for. This is what we'd like to see. I mean, we are dead even on our retest on the parallel channel on the daily, and we are holding that exact 1.88 that we were talking about within this consolidation area. Nothing shocking, even though Twitter feeds and everything else will have you think otherwise. Dominance. Well, dominance kind of looks like it's doing what we thought it would do. We were talking about a little bit of pullback. A little bit of pullback comes with dominance typically going up because the money's leaving alts and going back into Bitcoin. Then leaving Bitcoin and the market totally when the total market cap goes down. That's how this works. We are finally, hopefully, going to get our major drop. We are primed for it. We are still set for it. What we have here today is the setting of a perfect target entry. People are going to start funding the market, soon. Oh, we knew it was too good to be true. You missed it. It was great. Everybody's been talking about how much bull run. This would be a really nice time to see a little fake out, a little liquidation hunt, and then mass liquidity entering and dominance dropping. That happens, this will happen. The other plays out where more money leaves the market and leaves alts. Alts are going to bleed like you've seen nothing. And this is going to skyrocket back up to these levels again. And if we go this direction and you're in alts, prepare to get washed.
That was really terrifying.
Alts are the risky thing, right? You're not making these massive gains without taking massive losses as well. These go up fast, they come down fast. And that's why if you're playing for these percentages in alts, you have to watch the money flow.
Mm-hmm.
And I have something juicy for the end that ties into this because it's so true. But because we monitor this so much, safe-ish. I mean, at the end of the day, this, crystal balls and casinos. But I mean, where did we put this daily support line that it seems to be just hugging right now, just slightly below? Whoop, let's get rid of that. At 50,829. We wanted to consolidate above the weekly box. We talked about 2 days ago how we didn't, and we broke down. We haven't touched this since the beginning of the week. And we said if it breaks the consolidation on the top of the box, it's probably coming down to Hewitt 50,829. While we didn't maintain the top of the box, we have a parallel channel down. And we're off by, was that $90 for the worst case scenario. Our best case scenario was to be up here. But we didn't think this was coming yet because we know critical greed fired. The whole colors of the candles have changed. This one hasn't. We need to hold this area. If we don't hold this area, we're going down fast. Probably down to this area. But this is what I mean. We look at data and not the news and the hype and the fear. Since show one, we've been always fairly close. And we always admit yacht can go up and yacht can go down. But if it's going to go in those directions, where? Let's not throw out 15K for fucking likes on the photo. Let's look at it if we're trading it where those possibilities are real. And when you do that, you use indicators and use little technical data, paints a pretty damn accurate photo. And then now we learn how do we trade within that and how do we manage our emotions within that. So right now, for the weekend, we could curl. It takes a market of panic to change price. That's all it takes. As soon as the sheep will say, oh my God, Chicken Little's right, the sky is falling, and they start massively selling, they're going to start the trend. And who's buying it? Right. The whales. If this starts to curl more, we know we have a micro bull or micro bear possibility. If this starts to come close and we get that split, we're going down. And we talk about the pre-halving where that's a possibility because in our last ones, it was a massive pullback. We haven't seen a massive pullback yet with Bitcoin. People are calling Chicken Little on these little tiny things. We've been making such higher highs and higher lows since here when everybody said I was crazy, except for one pullback, which makes sense with the amount of ups we had. we definitely
I
could.
really appreciate your preparation in us to be like, prepare, not to be chaos. I appreciate the easing us into it emotionally.
Well,
It's great. We need to consider these things, right? So
when we're talking Bitcoin, yeah, because we know these boxes of movement, when it moves, it'll move fast in big directions compared to fiat, for sure. But let's take the height of the wick roughly there to the bottom of the wick here. We're talking 4.4 some odd percent. When we compare that number to what happens in alts, right? That's what I mean. Like, this is why money flow dominance in Bitcoin is the barometer for how we trade our alts, because a downward trend of 4% in Bitcoin crushes alts. And if you're not seeing this coming or the possibilities and you're not playing with strategy within it, yeah, you can get wrecked depending on your trading style. If you're just buying every now and forgetting and waiting for the long term, none of this matters. I keep saying that. But if you're trying to buy lows and highs on monthlies every few days or hourlies, if you don't understand these first 4 sections of the show, that's why they're the first part of our show. How much money is moving in and out? How much of that money is in Bitcoin? Of that, where is Bitcoin's value? And same with ETH. Because as soon as you take out Bitcoin and ETH, which I have as another DOM, how deep do you go down the rabbit hole for the shows? There's not a whole lot of money left in that ecosystem. It's a lot, but not compared to, I mean, Bitcoin's almost half the entire ecosystem.
I have an incredibly stupid question to ask you.
No such thing.
And I'm a hint to Stone to formulate it. But like I don't know. Keep going. I have an embarrassing question to ask, but I'll ask it. And I'm not ready yet. I'll bring it up just because I need to formulate in my head. Honey, I'm really stoned. You know that.
No worries. All right. So Ethereum. From show 1, we've been calling Ethereum like crazy. The squiggles, I mean, we drew this squiggle, I don't know how long ago, for what we were thinking the band might do in the future. To curl out, to cause consolidation before we have resistance on the weekly, and on the next weekly resistance, we need to consolidate, test it, break out of it to go. Right now, we've been hugging this 2908 on the bottom wick here. And that was our daily support and resistance. So current price is $24.08, you know, let's be honest. That's damn close to our predictions. And we said we know even numbers are tough, the psychology of it. There's a support and resistance there. Weekend slowing down. This area makes sense. Our critical greed has been firing for days. We know this is coming. What we don't know is there going to be a nice big pullback like we had last pre-halving, or are we going to have some consolidation, maybe a pullback down to the weekly levels, and we're off again? That's the part we don't know. And that's why if you're trading short term, we look at this every day. And if you're trading full time as a job, you're not looking at this every day. You're looking at this every 20 minutes at most. And if you're not, start doing that. Holy shit, will your trading get better? When this was first introduced to me after indicators, damn. Imagine learning this post-fact And this is, in my opinion, the most important part of trading. It's been doing what we've wanted to do. We thought we might get another curl here, and then we formed this pattern. Now we're trying to see if this pattern plays out. If it does, we're golden. Everything comes down to this. Are the big wigs playing the game that are moving these mass amounts of money? They're the ones deciding. They're the market makers, market takers, for lack of better words. But we can measure these. We can see how different when it's market cap. That tool don't work.
There's a question coming in, and I kind of figured out my question also when you're ready.
Fire away.
All right. Ann America said, do you keep dominance and market cap on the lower time frame as you keep an eye during the day?
Yes. Great question. When you start to see Supreme and I, oh, this is a beauty formation too. When you start to see Supreme and I trade together a little more live, we will be reporting literally as it's happening if we're in fast trades on the DOM and the total market cap. The daily sets the trend. When in doubt, zoom out. We always start high. But we know in one of these candles in a day, like we just measured this one right here, that was $72.4 billion. We're not seeing that much volume just based on the size of the wick to wick here. It's mellowed. We saw a ton of money come in. Like a ton of money. Let's just start from right here, go to the top of the wick. $362 billion in 2 weeks. And we're worried about a little bit being taken out. I worry when we start to break these lines. And what did I say earlier? I worry when we break this 1.88. We can go back. It's there. It's why the whole gray line is there. I'm not worried. I tell you when I panic or when I haven't. I haven't had to panic yet. The sky hasn't fallen yet, my world. I've said many times, nothing panic. People are freaking for no reason. Why? Data. This breaks. Now you're going to see me hit panic button. I'm not going to say I'm not panicking when there's times to panic. And in those cases, there's strategy. That's what stop losses are. That's what having cash on hand on the side is for. Because if we know we're going to go down, especially if we're on the side, now we're getting juicy entries. And if we're playing long game, these little dips, we're just rebuying in on them. We're not panicking. And these are little dips. We haven't even seen a big dip yet. So that's the importance, sort of dig into more in that than I expected to. But that's
I'm
why
enjoying it, man.
Thanks.
Keep
That's
just,
why we
just ramble
focus.
on, and I'll interrupt when I feel like
Oh,
I got to go somewhere else.
exactly. That's the whole point, right? And Bitcoin looks like it could go right down to this level. In this 50 even number, there's our next support and resistance right around that even number. Our indicators are telling us it's curling. That's on the daily. If you ever really want to go, okay, what's actually going on the daily, healthy, it'd be nice to see this spread that we start or a little consolidation hold this line. Because if it doesn't, next line's down here. So yeah, the 49.9 is reasonable, but let's be honest, like it's not that much. But we've already had our 3 touches down. This held before. There might be some fat wicks. But you say, you want to know what's going on? Zoom in. Looking like we might start to get that curl on the 4-hour on the micro bear. Also, for the last little while, it's been holding this level.
Can I say something?
Like I said, If it don't, there's going to be our next stop. Then there, then there, then there. It may do it all in one. We know that. And that's why we put in these strong support and resistance on the daily before, because now we're zoomed in. So we know very much possibility, low 49s. Greed fired a few times. We've had consolidation in this area. Right now, if we looked on a 4-hour consolidation rectangle, we're right there. So this is why, even before I said, this is a key area. If we break it, we've broken our consolidation area. People were panicking back here in, early Feb. Well, 17, not that long ago, but in crypto Web3 world, that was, 10 years ago. And here we are. So no need to panic. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of wicks in this area. But I still go with what we've been talking about, which is this fight in this area, which ironically, we just drew a box that matches this same lines. I'll get rid of the box because that's enough of the box. So when we talk about taking profits and we're in these trades that can sometimes be a few days, a few weeks, a month, this is why we talk about taking them. Because when we first did Atom a while ago, we got in a buy, we got in an exit. Now it's plummeted. And we're looking for that entrance. And yesterday we said there was 3 good possibilities of this playing out. Worst case scenario, going down to here. Supporting strong area would be in here as an entry. Most likely, what did we say? We'd be in here. Huh. Still a pretty decent entry. You had it a few chances. Now we're starting to curl. We can see this best case scenario, the belly going this way. Worst case, we said it could go down here, and we might get a target if the belly comes down in here. Bollinger gave us an entry here. We didn't even have all our indicators on. Here we are. This upswing could be another quick, probably less than 9%, because we're in here now as opposed to our target entry.
I have so many questions, but you keep moving on, and then questions pile on more, but I keep getting more interested in what you're saying. But if you could answer one question for me to make some things really clear. I should know this. I'm sorry, I tried to interrupt you earlier, but I think my mic's not working actually. So it's so stupid, you guys. I'm so sorry. So it's gonna take me a sec. Is everything an alt other than Bitcoin and ETH, or are each company's alts or not alts, or is it just blue chips that are regular and then it's all the alts?
Great question. Great question. And depending on your maxi hat that you would throw on, Bitcoin maxis will tell you anything outside of Bitcoin is an alt. It used to be just Bitcoin and Ethereum. Everything outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum is an alt. And there used to be seasons, Bitcoin season, ETH season. Those still exist, but not to the extent that they used to, not the time to get into the seasons. But anything at that time was considered very high risk was alt, because you're looking at these basically companies outside of shit tokens and gambling, that were trying to create actual products or things or blockchains or interoperability or whatever it is they were working on. It was no different than in investing in small micro companies in the stock market. It is no different. But if you don't have any history, you have to prove yourself. So that's high risk as an investment. But now, since the industry is aged, I think the safe blue chips have kind of opened a bit. Now, some people would argue because they're maxis, not a chance. I think let's look at data. I think it's safe to say Ethereum, Bitcoin, obviously, Cardano, from one of the creators of Ethereum, Charles Hoskinson. Right? It's probably a good blue chip. In fact, it's poised soon. XRP has had the history. They're battling everything in courts. They're making precedences for us. That's kind of a blue chip now. When we look at projects, are we talking the value and what you're going to make on them? Or are you talking about them as a value as a company? Now, both I want. So on that list
absolutely. I just want to make sure I know what the scale is. I don't know if I didn't know. So stupid. I didn't know if Bitcoin and ETH, it was like, let's just say it's like point something percent. What is point something percent? That is all of the coins, and then the rest are alts. And that's what I'm saying. That you gave me the scale, which is perfect, and I appreciate it. I just don't. Yeah, I don't know if you have percentages.
No, I mean you can probably.
You're kind of basically telling me the consistency and the strength you can trust to continue. How, what percentage is it? 50%?
Who knows?
I don't know if I'm asking this.
I mean, you got, this is where trust your gut, DYOR, right? But let's be honest. You can look at certain blockchains, Polygon, Matic, right? Starbucks is building their loyalty system on that blockchain. Pretty safe bet at that.
It sounds like it's a matter. Sounds like it's a matter of opinion.
Pardon?
It sounds like what is an alt and what isn't an alt is a matter of opinion to a certain degree, which is why all these prices are going up and down.
Right? Like anything that's going to have a viable market cap, a trusted, it's like the S&P 500, right? This is the wild, wild west days. Like I said, I remember when I got into cryptocurrency, there was less than 9,000 token pairs. Now we have over 2 million because of shit tokens and everything else and real good projects. But it's no different than the S&P 500. And that's why it's another barometer, because the best companies, the best projects in crypto will make that crypto 500 top projects, right? In the beginning, it was just Bitcoin and ETH. That it became, Cardano, Solana, VC Fund, all my beliefs aside, it's still prominent. There's a lot of money being operated on it. Whether or not it's a good product or not doesn't matter. They've got the people, the technology, and the funding behind them, and teams building on them. So at what point do you say that's not a safe blue chip out of it? It is an ambiguous area. We're talking about a brand new spectrum. There is no Bible or rule book out there right now that says this is what it is. But you'll have people.
So it's like you have to go and educate yourself about what's out there and know the people behind these companies. And that's like a point that I haven't quite got into yet, right? So then I can decide. It's almost like I can decide for myself what is considered a blue chip and not. Yeah, I've never really connected why I was doing it and how that could help me though until just now. So I appreciate it.
I had people that would tell me I was nuts about Gala. You heard me talk about Mavia for so long. Until I was blue in the face, and nobody knew of these projects at the time. But I'm not hyped about the project. And if you don't know Mavia by now, I don't know where you've been. It's all over. But it was Supercell, Clash of Clans coming to Web3, and in my opinion, it's still not too late. We know gaming is one of the major plays of this infrastructure. Gaming is one of the most lucrative businesses in the world. And right now they have a Web3 mobile playable game where you can make money for play, where you can make money for holding, where you got airdrop, all these kind of things. It's the digging into the ecosystem. But when that first started, that's high risk unless you do the research and you see the people that are starting it started a $6.4 billion company before it. Now, is that high risk or good research? All right. So that's what a lot of this industry is now, because we're getting a lot of these Web 2 companies coming in. Right. And they're going, hey, I want to do this, or we have a problem. This can create the solution. And it's filtering all the shit through it to go find those. And that's what I do when I'm not doing this. As you know, I'm living in laptops, DYOR. I'm digging in. Who are these people? What are they doing? What's new? What's coming out? I was in a chat today. People were like, Elgin. And I'm like, oh, yeah, like you could stake week on Elgin. You got to get an Elgin, the airdrop, right? And there's so much. We can only cover so much at a time, especially in an hour. So that's why I want to try to always in the beginning cover the most important parts. If you're trying just to trade to make money, you have to know those 4 principles: total market cap, dominance, price of Bitcoin, price of ETH, how they're all interoperating. Then you can look at how the money flows into the others. But since it's such a volatile market, there is that, I guess, I never looked at it until you pointed this out now, is there's like a degree of alts. There's the higher risk, newer shit that nobody knows about, or maybe the teams aren't doxed, right? There's newer projects of good teams that nobody really has done the research and they haven't proven Web3 like results right away, right? And then there's the teams that have been around killing it for ages. That stuff is being built on, and maybe they're not getting the publicity, like Avalanche, prime example in the gaming world right now, and a few other things. So yeah, long answer to your question of what makes an alt or what, but I think what makes them all alts outside of Bitcoin is the volatility. But that level of where they are at in that hierarchy, I guess, will determine how much volatility they have.
That's exactly my question. So I just didn't know. I don't know a lot. So I would love to go DMYONR. You get it. That sounds disgusting.
Right.
Sorry, but I would love to go DYOR, but I don't know what I'm DYRing, because I'm looking, and I know you're just like researching all the time, because I don't know how to do that, to go find a company and go look in, because I don't know that guy's name. I don't know what he does. So then I'm on this. Yeah. Totally. I don't know how,
even if you're not linked in there. You go through it. If there's nothing in there, you can continue to Google. If there's nothing there, no people. Next. Don't waste the time. But when you
we talk about DYOR. I just don't know what the process is for doing my research in order to learn it. So I don't know. I don't know if anybody
another video altogether. That's another video.
I know. I'm gonna ask a quick question and then we can move on. So I'm just learning a lot right now. Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. I'm just wondering if at some point we can just sort of highlight a company and just talk about, them sometimes, not all the time, but just occasionally, because I think that would help me be able to like, you're the best. Okay, go, move on.
All right. Where were we? I don't even know anymore. Right. We were on Adam. I don't know where we were on Adam anymore,
though. Sorry. Thank you. Appreciate it.
We are, no worries. No worries. That's what it's all about, is answering the questions. When I look at Adam, we definitely have, and I know as soon as I hit anything, it's going to show the drawings. What we were talking about is the belly of the bear. And we had that. And this is where I was talking about a price point down in here, and we nailed it. We got in somewhere up here, got out, boom. Ooh, that indicator hit nice. The NDO, I haven't forgot you. This is not a short indicator or a long indicator. We've talked about this before. This is your percentage chance of getting to that line within the candle time frames. We'll get into that. It's another whole episode. This is when we say your statistical percentage chance. This will tell you whatever, this will fire on whatever percentage you gauge. For example, when we get into the settings, here you can put your probability of success. And the higher you put it, obviously, the less it fires. The lower you put it, the more it fires. But then here you are. I like to play with 70. It comes from us to you reloaded at 70. I also like these on white. They were supposed to come preloaded on white, but I think they went to our corporate color by accident. But here we are. And you can see where it hit it. We'll go through a full another video on that. There is a little bit in the modules. We have a few on the other past shows. But anyways, I digress. We have our downwards action. We have compression. It makes sense, even from right now here today, where we at in price, with no matter if we dip again with the market or what, from where if you just got in right now here today, eventually we would probably get up to that 7% return. And it would make sense over the history of time when we look at the price action. That does not mean it's not going to come right back down to these areas. These areas. That's where trusting the tools, the money flow, and what's going on comes in handy. And if we did take this as an entry right now in the center of this that we were talking about, if we go to the daily, because we did this on the other day, you would have hit, you could have got out and made some percentage already. Because on the 4 hour, we are on the upswing. There's your 1.42 at the current price. But we can tell on the daily, we may be coming down to here. We may be coming down to the bottom of this. We gave ourselves the 3 possibilities of where we wanted to look at for support, consolidation, or if these lines were going to spread and indeed go down to these areas. If you were looking for a quick trade, you're welcome. You probably did more if you got out better, but even if you didn't, you just followed showtime to showtime, there's 1.4% in a day. Awesome. Love this kind of shit. Phantom. Oh, lots of squiggles on here. So our call on Phantom nailed. We walked up the line. Then we said we need to break this trend yesterday. We drew this, I believe I called it ugly. And it is ugly. And it didn't break it. So it actually looks like this might start to play out. We don't know yet. I didn't put an entry on here yet because I'm pretty sure I would have said I don't have enough information here if I wasn't in Phantom to say I want to get in. On a quick trade, yeah, we've had lots of downward action. Makes sense. We'll get a little bit of a pump. And you can make a few percent there. On a long hold, nah, I think we'll probably get a better entry. I still think this is quite a possible play out. Little bit of consolidation in here, like where we're talking. If this consolidation holds, then yeah, we're off. If it doesn't, if the consolidation doesn't hold, we're coming down. And it really looks like the indicators are telling us that we're about to head into a micro bear. And that's great. If we're looking for an entry, not so great if you're still in. Unless you're in for long term. Phantom will be a great token, another great token to hold long term. Like I said, we're still looking to get back from here down to up here. Retracements are healthy. We're having a little bit more of a bigger retracement right now because of all the money leaving the total market cap. Again, why wouldn't you take the profits when you go? And even if you didn't, and now you're like, ah, damn, I should have listened. I should have taken the profits. From where we told you to get into where it is still right now, with all the ups and downs, you're still at 9.43%. Kasama, look at that nail. Boom. If you put a limit entry, hello, you would have caught the wick right there. It happened a day faster. Oh, so close. But if you put a limit entry in, you probably nailed it. Not saying it won't come back down to this point. Probably somewhere in here now would be your next extra entry for a pullback from its current price. But if you caught this wick yesterday with the limit entry, you're already up 2.5%. And we should be, from our current price, hopefully walking right back up into this range. Same thing again, though. Don't chase green candles. We are at the bottom of the belly. But as we've already seen with market cap, we could go down again. So this could easily start to spread, and you might get another good entry down in here. Look at, just missed that support level. And that's why you always go a little bit above and below. So Kasama, again, even on the long term, when we look on the daily, this is still looking healthy. I mean, from our original call and entry, our entry was the gold line. For those waiting for the retest, was right here. If you just got in again here, great. From price right now to where we are at, to where the localized all-time high is still just shy of 30%. Looking at it on the daily, not the best time to enter if you're trying to get up here, because it looks like we might curl, have a little bit more of a pullback. This is that retest area right now, so watch it. But if you're getting in, getting out, I don't know what more you're waiting for. Well, there's probably a little bit, but I'd take that on a downward trending market right now. Where are we at? So Casper, our little gold child, dropped a little harder than we thought. We thought it would probably hold this line here. I'm not upset that we're off a little bit here, because, I mean, we told you to short it here, then we told you to buy it here. And like I said, we're not always going to be perfect. There you are. I was wrong. Market, 743, February 23rd. But we have our 3 down, and we're still working towards this top. And we're on par. It makes sense to come down. We've had a great up in the last little bit. Money's come out of the market. It was a little steeper than we thought, but it's been holding this line. Held right on the wick on the daily, which is nice. So big picture, no sweat. And this is what I mean when I said I took a position a little while ago, because it was a great price. Even though I thought it might go down more, I didn't want to take the risk. It might not. Because standing on the headlines the whole time sucks. And that's why you never go all in.
We have a question from
Fire
here.
away.
When you are ready, sir. Would you be making trades today when everything potentially could see downside? And I think you did touch on that a little bit.
Could you be making trades? Jessica Wildchild, artiste extraordinaire. Not. That's a tough one, Jess. Like, am I shorting? I don't like to short. If I'm fast trading, sure, the trade is there. I don't force the trade. If I see the trade, I'll take it. But we have to understand what is the direction doing. And right now we're 1.887. We're starting to get a little green. So if you're longing, you might be seeing some good entries. you know. Weekends, I'm really trying to start now to touch grass, take those times. But there is no right or wrong answer to that question, unfortunately. The right answer is don't force a trade. If the trade is there, take it for that time frame. And you always have to zoom out and then zoom in. So on the daily, what's the direction? Weekly, daily, what's the direction? 4 hourly, where are you looking at? What are you trying to accomplish in that? Are you trying to accomplish a short or are you trying to accomplish a long? Trying to accomplish a long when the whole prices of things are going down, obviously is a lot higher risk. It will happen because we know everything goes ups and downs. A lot harder to catch them in cycles. So right now we know market, a little bit of a pullback last few days, like I've said, weekend coming, typically more pullbacks. If I don't have 100% certainty, not even 100%, if I don't have a lot of good faith that this is what I think is going to happen next, it's your
So
capital.
if you're not trusting what you're seeing, or if you're not trusting the things you've learned and applied to achieve that confluence, it may be different. It's going to be different a little bit for every coin. So you get used to these things and then you bop
Yeah.
around into what you, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And
I'm
I
learning
mean,
a lot today, man. Appreciate you.
this is a perfect example. We said to short here. Boom. We've gone over this so many times, I won't flog a dead horse. We said it's probably going to support this line, get in, and we're going to start to long it out all the way back up to here. I said, if you missed it, we've been calling in here was a good buy and stuff. And we said, in here's good buy. Well, if you're buying in here to get to here, you don't panic in these little spots. Because this little bit of difference here to here, not so big. But now if it gets down to here and you want to hear immediately, yeah, that could suck. And that can always happen. I think right now, slight fake out over the weekend. Everything I've said before, I think still stands the test of time of what we're doing. Makes sense. We've had a bigger pullback than I thought. I thought this being the weekly and a daily right on top of it would hold a little better. It didn't. But we're already seeing a pull up from this daily. And if money is starting to come back in, which it's green, most likely we start to see pullbacks again. Parallel channel down, we'll get an up, we'll hit this line, we'll retest, and we hope we go again. If we keep going down, you're either going to stop loss out and you're going to take that as education, put it in a journal. Where did we make that mistake? Or we're off and let's go. What I was going to say, I wanted to quickly look at, because we talked about gas for Spaceport yesterday. And we said maybe down into here, and these lines would probably start to curl and maybe start to look like that. I'm still going to stand on a long term that this might form. Now, when we also look at it, we can see we have a retest happening right here. And if that retest happens, we're off this way. But if this is a pull down in the market right now, and we're going to see a market shakeout for the next week or so, this is totally a possibility. So very curious still to watch what's going on with gas. Interesting coin. Still haven't had the time to actually look at what this one is all about. But thank you, Spaceboy, for bringing it to us, because there is absolutely some volume to be made on the turnaround. Whether or not this has been the turnaround and we're off, or if this has just been a little blip of consolidation that's going to happen in this box between these weekly supports. We don't know yet. And that's what we're trying to test to see. Because if it stays above this area here, now we're not in this lower area. If it doesn't break out into this area here, then this lower area is a possibility, and this is looking like a great entry. So this is what we want to see. I just realized I did this on the daily, so I want to make sure.
When you have a second, I want to just
fire away.
Just to keep your, just in the interest of time,
yeah,
have a couple of questions, and also we haven't touched on, what was that going to be?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it does, because Kwame was asking about render.
Render, yeah, I know.
So we've got about 9 minutes left. Just wanted to give you a reminder.
Yeah. What was the question?
Hold on. Oh shoot. It's meant to be a quick one. Have you had a chance? We think we talked about it earlier. AAVE. I think you had mentioned that.
Sorry, you cut out. What was that?
Oh, AAVE.
Aave. Yeah.
Just want to make sure you can spell it. But yeah, Anna America is just asking if you had a chance to look at it. Not a full TA, just curious if you've seen it. And obviously you have.
I have not seen it in a long time. I know it. I mean, I've looked at it during the Hun. So that enters gas. Let's get back into our random then. And let's get rid of rows and turn this into render. All right. So briefly before when we talked about render, I said I think we were at about our all-time high. There it is. I knew that because I love render. I've known this coin for a while. I've made a lot of money in this ecosystem. I've always said I think this is going to be a good thing. What do I see in render? I see a teacup and we're off. Is literally what I see. Anytime we have an all-time high, we're having to pull down. No brainer. Critical greed, blah, blah, blah. This was great. You know, people are hearing about this now that have never heard about this token. Oh, it's amazing. It's been going up. They're going to buy thinking it's going to here. They're going to get the realization of the people that have been in here for a while are going to take their profits. Then they're going to panic. They're going to sell and we're going to go off again. This is sadly how it works. And the more we recognize it in the systems, the better. I mean, yes, we know it's never straight down and straight up, that there's always but it's being able to zoom in on those patterns when they're occurring and those trends and see them happen while they're happening. So render, if you're in it, take your profits, is what that means in a nutshell. Not saying this can't continue to since have its pullback and continue to go. On the weekly, look at this. Look at that spread. What are we talking about? Spread barrels volume. But we have critical greed on one candle. We know price action. In a week, we've already had that much pull down. How much pull down is that? Might not look like much right here, but on this one candle alone, 11.74% in a week. From all this massive up, makes sense. Here's its lowest low to its all-time high, 522.4%. Are you kidding me? You tell me people ain't taking profit? Daily oversold. So on the daily, this is where we want to see this consolidation. Because consolidation builds strength. If we get this, then we're off for sure. If it doesn't hold this as strength, what's it going to do? It's going to come down here. It's looking for strength. And it will look for strength until it can find it. Now, I believe Render will find it. What I don't know, is it going to find it here? Is it going to find it here? Is it going to find it here? I don't believe Renders is going to go down. It has the potential, but not with what the market's doing. But this is where chasing hopium exists. I love this token. I've been in this token so many times. Am I getting in this token right now? Nay. I might short it, but it's tough to tell because on the weekly, we looked like we were taking off. On the daily, I still don't have that curl to say I want to short. Right now, we're in limbo. And when you're unsure, well, why? Move on to the next till we can say, yeah, we got high probability if this is what's going to happen. We have a ton of tokens of great projects. We don't need to fight to find these. We watch, because if this does start to consolidation and it's giving us the indication it's going to take off again, we get in. Right now, we don't have enough info because all of this is still a possibility. Boom, Render. Love it. Stacks, I love. It's going. Hopefully, we'll hold this area and we're off again. But it could.
There's a. Sorry, my computer. I may have missed something important. My computer shut down for a little while, and I had to come back. But so I couldn't read out that you're asking about Gala. Jessica Wildchild's asking about Gala.
Jessica Wildchild, you were too little, too late. It's 3 minutes to 8. Oh, I could have run.
No, it was no. She said it earlier. My computer shut down. But we were chatting. I'm in it as well, and I do want to talk about it as well. So maybe in the Discord, or we can add it.
Yeah, in the Discord for sure, because you gave me Aave and Render, and it's 2 minutes to 8. And we are now just looking at Aave fresh. Let's look on the weekly. This is an old token. Interesting. I mean, you can see we broke our trend down here. Our capitulation ended, and we have our compression, and we're holding this line right here on the weekly. Top of the box is obviously where we're fighting to hold. Our next would obviously be these wicks in this area. Kind of split the difference. So that, I would say, is our weeklies of what's going on. If we want to drop a trend line, for quick and dirty's sake, I mean, we have 1 day 20. It's probably pretty safe with everything that's going on to say our retest on the weekly looks good. Probably pretty safe to say it's going to be tough to break these areas. But these areas are huge. That's 22%. Damn.
Yeah, that's wild.
So this is what we're looking for when we talk about capitulation and everything coming, retests, in market that it moves, right? The money moves and there's narratives, right? When something pumps, something else isn't, because smart traders are taking the money from what is pumped and starting to look for what hasn't. And then they'll take a good project like this. Now, this would be a slow trade, obviously, because right now we're on the weekly, but current price to our last major resistance is 148%. And Ava's been around forever. I won't get in, blah, blah, blah. Let's look on the daily. And you can see just on the price action. So we've had some up. Makes sense to have a retracement, a pullback down into these levels. All right, support resistance, lots of ups, pullback. It makes sense we could probably get an entry in here and long ride this out. How long did that take? So from our
minutes, it looks this is really interesting, man. I'm learning a lot. I'm learning a lot, folks.
38 days from its last major localized high to its localized low. Take it to today, we said 38. We're about halfway through. And just shy of halfway there. Huh. Ladies and gentlemen, I let you decide. But I would think, even right now here today, if you didn't want to wait for pullbacks, blah, 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 I've said this before. If you're playing the longer game, you can buy it right now, wait to get to this localized weekly high, and there's 22%. You want to get a slightly better entry, wait for your next pullback. It'll be somewhere in this range. And you are off to the races. Hella fine. Hella fine. This is what groups are all about. Great job.
I love it. And America said that in and out of Ave like 15 times. Big fan.
There's something to be said about that. There is, I know a few traders that only trade one or two trading pairs.
Mm-hmm.
And they know that ecosystem. And it's they know it like clockwork. And when we gave this big list, and I've said this a lot, this isn't for you to learn the entire list. That'd be ludicrous. We know there's people out there like AI. We know there's people out there like gaming. We know there's people out there like finance. There's a list of a whole bunch of different projects, so you can look at what excites you and do the DYOR on those. If you're trying to chase pumps all the time on everything that's different pumping, not to be a dick, but thank you for your money. We talk about that a lot, and being patient and looking for these entrances, market entries, market exits. I can't talk anymore. I really can't.
I know you were at 5 minutes overtime, man, but it's all good stuff.
And in that 5 minutes, thanks for all those that came. Happy Friday. We both made it another day. I'm on a rocking 18 days, even though I admit it, didn't make the best entry, but I knew that when I took it because I was excited at the price. And I have, just like we did those little gray circles, I have another entry if it gets down to there. So I dollar cost my entry with a limit buy. I'm not going to say what it is. but it's there. I don't think we're going to get there. I think we'll have a little pullback this weekend, a little more shakeout, and then I think we're off to the races next week. And if any indication or news comes out, then we may be having that big pullback. I've been wondering if it's going to happen. I know it sounds like maybe shoulda, coulda, would be there, but we've been pretty accurate at calling a lot of it, and we've made some banging calls throughout all of it. With that, I think that's everything I have. The Crypto Kitty, anything?
You're like our trading therapists that are like, coming down, you guys control yourselves, don't freak out. Something's coming, I like you're walking us here, which is great. If you need to be off the ledge.
It is. And 18-day streak, that's fucking good. Desi, I got to admit, half of it is because I was just waiting on the sidelines, brother. So I'll take it as a champion, but it is half of it. Something I will let you know, Monday's show may be tentative. It's not something that I want, but we're always trying to do this for you guys but IRL comes up. I will be traveling, bad news, family shit. So hopefully I can make it. If I do, it'll be on the road. You'll know either way what's happening for the show, but I look forward to it if we can do it. Outside of that, ladies and gentlemen, have a great weekend. Go touch or smoke some grass.
Oh my God, it sounds amazing. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Glad you're here, guys.